Hi, hello class. This is a simple demonstration just to look at the particular topic of data and data types. So we're going to work through a problem so that we could just explore the basic concepts of the different data types. What can you do with the information once you have that information collected? And basically just thinking about how you could present that to an audience that's interested in the particular data set that you have. So this question 125, just taken from your chapter 1 in your textbook. And what we have is 25 stocks that are listed on some exchanges. And we will look at the data and try to identify the types of data, the number of elements, the number of variables, etc. in that particular data set. So if you look, you see the information that's given to us is the actual company, the exchange that company is listed on, the ticker symbol, the market capitalization of that stock, the price earnings ratio, and the gross profit margin. So let's see what questions we've been asked with this one. First question we've been asked is how many variables are there in the data set? But if I maybe just backtrack a little bit, if I were to ask you how many elements are in the data set, you should be telling me 25, because the number of companies in that set represent the number of elements. So our data set has 25 companies, the 25 elements. And each element, then we're collecting data on 5 variables. So that first question, how many variables are there? There are 5 variables. Basically the exchange, the ticker symbol, the market capitalization, the earnings, price earnings ratio, and the gross profit margin. So those are the 5 variables that we have. So the answer to question A is just this one right here. Is that we have 5 variables, all right? Which of the variables are categorical and which ones are quantitative? So we know that quantitative data allows us to do mathematical manipulations and transformations of the data. Categorical variables are qualitative in nature. So we have 2 categorical variables, which are the exchanges and the ticker symbol, those 2. And then we have 3 quantitative variables, 1, 2, 3. So you could write that down, basically 2 categorical, 3 quantitative. That takes care of that. Now for the exchange variable, show the frequency and percent frequency for the 3 different stock exchanges. And so all we have to do is to simply count the number of observations for each of these categories. So for example, how many Amexes are there, how many OTCs are there, how many New York Stock Exchanges, NYSE, are there. And if we collect that information, we will see that we could create a table. We will call that the exchange, and then the actual frequencies, and the percent frequency. So Amex, NYSE, and OTC. And if you just simply count them, you'll find that there are 5 Amex, 3 NYSE, and 17 OTCs. And that should all add up to the 25 elements, or the 25 stock exchanges. So N is equal to 25. If we want to convert that to a frequency, so the frequency is just the number of observations, or the frequency. So the percent frequency is the frequency divided by the sample size, or in this case the number of elements. So 5 over 25, for example, will give us 5 over 25, which then gives us 20%. And then 3 over 25 gives us 12%. And 17 over 25 gives us 68%. So that's the breakdown in this case, and this is useful for just describing the data. We have 20% of the companies are listed on Amex, 12% are listed on New York Stock Exchange, and 17 of them, or 68%, listed on OTC. Right? Let us reduce that to do the next question. The next question basically asks us, show the frequency distribution for gross profit margin. And so we're going to take that quantitative data and put it into classes or of a given width of 15. And then what we are able to now do with that is to present a percent histogram. It's a histogram based on the percentages, all right, as opposed to the actual frequency. So let us take this data. We will need to just establish the ranges. Now, so I'll put the range this way. The gross profit margin, we'll call it that. The actual frequencies. And we could put the percent frequency as well. So what do we have? We have 0 to less than, I'm going to actually put it this way, less than 15%, 15% to less than 30%, 30 to less than 45%, 45 to less than 60%, and 60% to less than 75%. So that's one way in which we could actually write. Or you could have said 0 to 14.99, but it just looks awful in that way. And all we have to do is to now go through the data and count how many are in each interval. So you see the values right here. So for example, this value of 73.4 would be in the range between 60 and 75%. So if we count all of those up, we will get the following distribution: 2, 6, 8, 8, 3. And it should still add up to 25. And of course, if we want to convert it to a percent frequency, multiply each one by 4, since there are 4 25s in 100. So 4 2 is 8%, 4 6 is 24%, 32%. I believe that one is also 24%. Sorry. So this should be, no, this is fine. This guy right here. So this is 8, that's fine. But this is 6, 24% and 12%. So now we have a relative frequency table as well, but using ranges. So that data allows us to draw what we call a histogram. And the histogram simply looks like this. We would take the x-axis and divide it up into widths of 15. So 15, 30, 45, 60, 75. And then because the frequencies go from 0 to 32, we can make these 5 at a time. Or if we want to go 10 at a time, let's go 10. Let's go 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Bit tall. And so for 0 to 15, we saw that we had only 8%. So somewhere around here. And then we had 24% right around here. Sorry. Right around here. It's not going to look very cool. And we had 32%, which would take me all the way up here. Then another 24% and 12%. So that's what our histogram would look like. And this helps us to see visually the distribution of the gross profit margin. All right. A lot of the companies have their profit margin concentrated between 15% and 60%. And then the modal class, or the one with the highest frequency, is between 30 and 45%. Cool. Now, if we actually took this, we could see that it's nice and fairly symmetrical. And that symmetrical shape we will come to learn in chapter 6 as the normal distribution. Alright, it's a very popular curve, a very popular distribution, and we'll learn some more about that pretty soon. But this is what the summary of that data looks like in the form of a histogram. And last but not least, we were asked what is the average price earnings ratio. So if you want the average price earnings ratio, we know that average is just the sum of all of the values that we have divided by the sample size. If we add up all of the price earnings ratios, so if we go back and simply add up all of these values and also with those values, then we will get 505 divided by 25, which gives us 20.2. So the average price earnings ratio is 20.2. And so folks, that completes a quick summary of data and data types, where we see that we could have different types of data: nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio data. In this particular example, we have what is nominal data for two of them. The two categorical variables are nominal data, but the three quantitative variables are all ratio data, because there is an absolute zero in all of those. We have 25 elements, and then we have 5 variables, and for each of those elements we collected a piece of data on each variable, which basically represented an observation. So if we understand all of this, we are pretty much cool.